Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody is having a good week so far, and I hope you're all looking forward to a good weekend. Welcome Kyber, welcome students. Nice to see many students joining in on time. This lesson, everyone, is an IELTS Task 2 writing. And the specific question will be about having one job or having many careers in a lifetime. And we'll take a look at that Task 2 question in just a moment. Again, this is a members chat class. So to join the chat, become a member by clicking on the join button next to the subscribe button. Of course, everybody is welcome to watch, and in 90 minutes we will have an all chat class, or a subscriber chat class I should say, that will be for listening parts 1 and 2. Welcome Slow Sunset Vibes to the class. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com for excellent materials to help you prepare for the IELTS exam. Visit us there. And we have this pop-up special discount code 30%, RU492, for the next 3 days. I'll show you where to use that. So the websites look like this. This is our academic IELTS website here. You just click this big red button right there where my finger is, the join now, and then you hit that blue use coupon code RU492, continue, and you get a 30% discount off all of our videos, practice exams, applications, and all these goodies. And it doesn't cost a lot for the premium IELTS package. It is a one-time payment for lifetime access. So it is well worth it. Welcome Rashika. Hi Mal, good to see more students joining in on the class. For the general IELTS, the website looks like this. Very similar, but with a green background. Again, just click that big red button to join our premium IELTS package. Once again, it is a one-time payment, so it's well worth it. And of course, we're an IELTS Test Registration Center certified British Council agents. You're in great hands with us. All right, students. So again, we've got apps. Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help. Check out our apps and Instagram, IELTS_AE Help, GIELTS Help. Our Instagram profiles have our schedules for these live classes as well. Use that code. Questions? Send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. We've got more classes all the way until the 5th. So right now, task 2, then listening. Then we'll have task 2 finished tomorrow with some more listening, and then we'll have speaking on Saturday. So lots more coming up. Here is our task 2 question for today. First tip, read it carefully and paraphrase it. So IELTS task 2 writing. Spend 40 minutes on this task. Here we go. Nowadays, more and more people decide to have, oh, that's not the one I was looking for. Oh, sorry, don't worry about that one. Let me jump into the syllabus here. Hopefully that'll be the right one there, and we'll go from there. There we go. That's the question I was looking for there. So let's read this together. Okay, and this is the question for today. This question was actually sent to us by Baljit. Requested this. It's one of the advantages of being a member of our channel is you can request writing topics. So Rashika, Kawal, Slow Sunset, if you see a question and you're curious about how to answer that question, you can always send me an email and say, hey Adrian, could we look at this question for one of the classes? So we're looking at this question today. Some people think, or some think that people who choose a job early and keep doing it are more likely to have a satisfying career than others who frequently change jobs. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Give explanations and examples to support your opinion. So this is kind of an interesting question here. And what you should always do when you're practicing at home and on the IELTS exam is, as a first step, just paraphrase the question. So in the computer-based exam, you have a piece of paper and your pen, and you can take notes and you can jot down ideas on that. Now, you can do it on the screen as well, so you don't have to do it on the paper, but if it makes you feel better, you might do it on the paper. In the paper-based exam, definitely do it on the note paper and paraphrase the question, meaning rewrite the question in your own words, okay? So step one is paraphrase the question, rewrite the question in your own words. Because in this way, you make sure that you understand the question completely and you gain some valuable vocabulary to use in your essay. Now, this should not be your introduction, okay? Your introduction needs to be more than just a paraphrase of the question for those high band scores, all right? So let's do this. I'm going to paraphrase this question, and then you do the same, and we'll make a comparison, okay? And I will look at some of your paraphrased questions to make sure you're on the right page. All right, here we go. So, okay. So nice and fast. If you don't paraphrase every word, it's totally okay. This is what I wrote. Certain people believe that individuals who decide on a career at a young age and pursue it have a greater chance of fulfilling career than those who often change their work. To what degree do you support this idea? Give explanations and examples to support your opinion. So it's somewhat akin to the original question, similar to the original question. Some think that people who choose a job early and keep doing it are more likely to have a satisfying career than others who frequently change their jobs. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Give explanations and examples to support your opinion. Okay, good. I see that Kyber has come up with a paraphrase here. So let's take a look, Kyber, what you're writing. All right. Here we go. So this is Kyber's paraphrasing here. Let me just give you some feedback, Kyber, on how you're doing here. Okay. So Kyber writes, certain individuals small I, Kyber, certain individuals ascertain that a person who continues their first job tends to have a more successful career than those who repeatedly alter their employment. To what degree do you approve or disapprove of this notion? Yeah, alter is okay. I think change is still the better word here. That's why I didn't use the word either. Alter, just in this context, there's not really a lot of words that create clarity. But yeah, that's good, Kyber. That's a good one. I can see that you understand this question clearly, okay? Very good. It's close to the original. It makes sense. There's no extra information or missing information. This is the paraphrasing by Slow Sunset. So Slow Sunset, let's take a look at how you're paraphrasing this. All right. So certain people believe that individuals who specialize in a particular profession early on are liable to have a more fulfilling career than those who constantly change jobs. Yeah, very good, Slow Sunset. And it might be worth just really quickly paraphrasing the rest of the question as well to make sure that you don't accidentally write an essay on the advantages and disadvantages, okay? I've seen that happen. So to what extent do you agree or disagree? You don't even really have to paraphrase this, just almost rewrite it so that it's really clear in your head that this is not advantages, disadvantages, this is not a different kind of essay, this is to what extent, so how much do you agree with this, okay? All right, looking good. So that's how we want to approach this first step, making sure that we understand the essay, okay? All right. Mal writes, some people see that deciding on what line of work they want to present at a young age will have a successful career than those who do not. Mal, that's a little bit off. It's a little bit grammatically incorrect. I would say rewrite that. Cass writes, some people believe that individuals who seek early employment at their younger years and to have a greater stand in achieving success in their careers rather than those switching jobs more frequently. Cass, it's a bit incoherent and it's a bit redundant. You have a bit of repetition there. Early employment in younger years. It's a bit confusing, so you might want to rewrite that. Rahul writes, certain people believe that individuals who decide to work too soon and continue to do so have more successful careers. I don't know about the words too soon, Rahul. What is too soon? Like at the age of 10, right? So that doesn't make sense. Careful with that word too, everyone. The word too in English is often used in a negative connotation, okay? And I think a lot of people don't realize that. So this is just a little side note here. Too is often used to intend a negative situation, like I eat too much sugar, okay? So if you say I start work too early, it means you're not happy about starting work that early, okay? So careful with that. I often hear people internationally using the word to in a positive way, and it's very strange for native English speakers, okay? So careful with that. All right, okay, so now our next step, right? So step 2 is to identify the topic of the question and the controlling idea. Okay, so what is the topic here? And when you're looking to identify the topic, you should always be looking at the original question. So here, some people think, or some think that people who choose a job early and keep doing it are more likely to have a satisfying career than others who frequently change job. To what extent do you agree? So what are we talking about here? What's the topic? Kyber says continuing first job. I would disagree, Kyber. I don't think that's actually what we're discussing. Okay. And this is an interesting one. This is a really good example of where you have to clearly understand the topic, because if you don't, I think it's going to be virtually impossible to write a good essay here. So what is the topic of this question? Slow Sunset says the rate at which people are changing jobs and how this impacts their career. I don't think so. No, I think we can actually answer this topic in 2 words. So you only need 2 words for it, and I think it's there. If you look carefully, it's there. I think some of you are getting lost in the controlling ideas. So the controlling, sometimes this happens where the controlling ideas cloud the topic. You think that the controlling idea is the topic, but it's not. Okay, so when you do this, let me just give you a little hint here. Okay, so careful not to confuse the controlling idea for the topic. Okay, Udit says switching jobs. No, Udit, it's not. Take a look at the question again and really pay attention carefully. So some think, here we go, some think that people who choose a job early and keep doing it are more likely to have a satisfying career than others who frequently change jobs. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay, Kyber, much closer. You need to simplify it because you have a combination of the topic and the controlling idea. So Kyber says it's satisfaction of careers at continuing the first job. There we go, Cass. Very good. Cass is the first one to get the right answer. So it's job satisfaction. This is actually the topic. We are, in fact, talking about whether or not we are going to have a satisfying career. Okay. All right. So to have a satisfying career, that's what we're actually talking about. Okay. Everybody sees that? So the question is really asking you what is required to have a satisfying career, and it's looking at it from 2 different perspectives. Okay, so and the controlling idea is pursuing the same job is leads to more job satisfaction than switching jobs. That's the other word we could have used, by the way, for changing jobs, is switching jobs. Switching jobs. All right. Does everybody see that now? That if we break this question into the topic and the controlling idea, this is what we should end up with ideally. Okay. Topic, we're talking about a satisfying career. The controlling idea, we're talking about whether or not pursuing the same job or switching jobs leads to a more satisfying career. If you are not able to clearly identify this before you write your essay, it is going to be extremely difficult for you to write a good essay. Does that make sense? Does it make sense why it's difficult to write a good essay if you don't identify the topic, controlling idea clearly? Okay, Kyber says, yep, yes, right? I mean, how do we write a good essay when we don't really know what we're writing about, right? Okay, and now is where it's going to become very interesting, because this is where you realize that, hey, not everybody has the same idea, okay? So before you put pen to paper or your fingers to the keyboard, before you do that, you have to do a little bit of thinking, okay? So make sure to think critically about the topic and controlling idea before you start. Means ask what, why, and how. Okay, so here, the first question we want to really ask before we can kind of take any further steps is, what is a satisfying career? Okay, and I'm very curious. I think this is a question we all need to ask ourselves to live a happy life and to live a successful life. And I don't think enough of us do before we choose a career. So it's good to think about this. So what is a satisfying career? I would love to hear your opinions on this, members. Okay. So Carolina's asking, how do we know that we are writing about the right topic? I think one way, Carolina, that you can figure that out is when you get to the critical thinking, then you ask this question, what is, and then you kind of realize like it doesn't make sense. So here, if I thought the topic was staying in the same job and I asked what is staying in the same job, I would realize that that's not really what I'm writing about here. So it's tricky, but you have to, kind of analyze it. And if you don't get it, you have to ask peers, right? You have to ask other people, what do you think this question is actually asking about, right? Okay, Kyber says it's a feeling of enjoyment that a person gets from their job. Okay, so, all right. Okay, let's see. I think this is a very challenging question. Okay, Slow Sunset has a different answer. It's financially rewarding. Yeah, and for some people, that's what a satisfying career is it's financially rewarding. Okay. Sanjay says, better life for the family and better financial conditions. Financially rewarding, okay, allows for quality family time. All right. Again, you will have to tell your reader what your definition of a satisfying career is, because that's going to decide what your answer is. So there are so many different ways that a person could write an answer for this essay, depending on your definition. And I hope that everybody sees that here. So your argument, your paper here is very subjective. It's very much dependent on your definition of a satisfying career, right? Cass says it's a conducive work environment. Okay. All right. Udit says yes, it's very, very subjective. Yeah, and in reality, subjective essays, so essays that have these very subjective kind of topics or questions, they're definitely the most challenging. And I think that's why Baljit was asking for me to go over this question, because it's a very challenging question. It's very easy to get lost in what you're writing, even at the beginning, just identifying what you're actually writing about here. So in my opinion, a satisfying career would be a job that a person is motivated to do because they feel reward and self-actualization, a purpose. So self-actualization means that you have a purpose in that job. So let's say that you're a doctor and you feel great when you heal a person, when you fix a broken leg. So you self-actualize, you're motivated to do the work, even if you're not getting paid millions of dollars, because you feel that there is a purpose for you in that job, okay? So a job that a person is motivated to do because they feel a reward, or they feel reward and self-actualization, a purpose in the job that they really enjoy. Okay, so that's what I would say. If you are motivated to get up every morning and to do your work, then you have a satisfying career. If you wake up every morning and you dread going to work, then you probably are not in the right job. Okay, that's what I think. Anyway, that's my subjective opinion of that career. Now, for the IELTS, it might be easier to just stick with something very logical and go with financially rewarding. Okay, so if you're not confident to write an essay that focuses on job satisfaction as being motivated and to self-actualize, then you might want to keep it simpler and go with financially rewarding. Okay? It might be a simpler approach. So I'm going to give you an option here, which definition of a satisfying career to write this essay on, because it will be a very different essay based on your choice. So choice number 1 is a satisfying career is one that is financially rewarding. Okay. And choice number 2, because these are not connected, and often they are not connected. A satisfying career is a job that a person is motivated to do because they feel there is a reward in that career that gives them a purpose. So number 1 is easier. Number 2 is more challenging. Which one would you like to do? Number 1 or number 2? I'll take a vote on this, members, and whichever one you vote, we will choose that definition of satisfying career, and we'll write an essay based on that definition. I'm open for either one. Let me know. I'll take a look at the votes. So the voting starts now. This is a random quick voting session here. So Kyber says number 2, let's go for something more challenging. Remember, number 2 is more challenging on the IELTS. If you want to, if you're not sure, you want to always go with the less challenging one. All right. So Mal says, I think yours is the most eloquent and accurate one. It's, yeah, Mal, but it's also the more challenging one to write. So you have to make a conscious decision. And remember this tip. This is a very important tip for IELTS, okay, in your actual IELTS exam. So tip. If you are not confident that you can write a strong essay about the, let's say, truth, then choose the easier path. IELTS is not the place to change the world. Okay, so you can save that for university or afterwards. All right. All right, it looks like everybody's sticking to their guns here and wanting to go with number 2. So let's go with number 2 then. All right, number 2 it is. So we'll go with a job which leads to self-actualization. All right. All right. So why does this lead to job satisfaction? And here I would just keep it simple, because the person actually or truly looks forward to doing their work. And does not consider it a burden, but rather enjoyment. Okay, how would be, so how does this happen? All right, a person discovers that they really love animals, so they eventually become a veterinarian. Okay. So that would be the example. All right, I'm moving forward a little bit faster here, so I don't want to lose you. I will explain what I just did. So basically here, I'm asking the what question, okay? What is a satisfying career? And then I'm answering that question. It's a job that leads to self-actualization. Why? So why does this lead to job satisfaction? Okay. Because a person truly looks forward to doing their work. They don't consider it a burden, but rather enjoyment. Or we might ask a different why question here. Like, why is it important? Okay, I think that's even a better question than why does this lead? So I'm going to take that out of here now that I'm looking at it. And I'm going to ask a better question. Why is it important to have job satisfaction? I'll take an answer for this. I think these are key questions that, again, it's not just good to know for this class and for task 2, but it's questions we should ask ourselves. So why is it important to have job satisfaction? Obviously, to have a happy life. But beyond that, so beyond having a happy life, why is it important to have job satisfaction? What do you think? So if your brother or your sister, or if you have children, if they ask you, like, why is it important for me to have a career that I'm happy with? Okay, what do you think? What would you answer for that? So what would you tell a person? Why is that important? Sunset Vibes says, it's crucial as it is something we will do on a daily basis for many years. Yeah. Okay. So we invest a large portion or a great amount of time in our lives. Yeah. Into our jobs. Sure. Yeah. Kowal says to earn more money. Yeah, it's very, very good argument, Kowal. People who are happy with their jobs tend to actually earn more money doing their jobs. Yeah, so can lead to more money. Yeah, absolutely. When you are motivated, when you are happy with your work, there's a very good chance you're going to make more money. Okay. Yeah, very good, Udit. That was the other one I was looking for. So it leads to great productivity. Yeah, that's a really big one, everyone. So when a person does not like their job, they are going to be much less productive over the course of 40-year career than if they are into their job, they love their job, then of course they're going to be very productive because they're going to work really hard because they're motivated, right? So productivity is a good one. So a person discovers that they really love animals, so they eventually become a veterinarian and they work really hard to help a lot of animals. See, and now that's better. So now we have the right why question, or a better why question for this essay. And we have a good answer here to lead to more productivity. And then how it's with this veterinarian working really hard to help a lot of animals. Okay. So now I have the right thinking, and you have to practice this at home lots so that you can do this very quickly in your 40 minutes on the IELTS exam. Okay. Now, ideally, what we do after this is ask what, why, how about the same career. So What is pursuing the same career? Okay, I'm going to go through these a little bit faster because I want to spend more of our time on the introductory paragraph now. So follow with me here, members. If you disagree with me, then just write disagree and then write why you disagree, okay? If you agree with me, then just leave it be, all right? So, but I, challenge you to disagree. So what is pursuing the same career early on? For me, that means starting a career in the 20s. Okay, so from like maybe the age of 25. So starting a career in the 20s and doing it for the next 40 years. Okay, so the question here is, why does this lead to job satisfaction? Okay, and my answer here would be because the person becomes a master in their field, they can achieve a lot of work or a lot of goals over 40 years. Okay. How a carpenter becomes a master craftsman and builds over 50 homes in his working career, let's say, right? So thinking of an example there, why does this not lead to job satisfaction? Because the person becomes content and bored of the work they do. They realize it was not their true calling in life. Calling here means purpose. Okay. All right. Now I would do the same for the other side. So same question. Okay. So what is switching jobs several times in a lifetime? Okay, so here I would say getting a new job every 5 years. Okay, Amrit Malhi, welcome back. Okay, Ken says, I disagree because you might get bored when you're doing a monotonous job. Yeah, Ken, I see your disagreement. Thank you there. I did include that, so that was the why not, right? Okay. All right, so getting a new job every 5 years. Okay, why would that lead to, why would this lead to job satisfaction? Okay, a person changes jobs until they find work that they are truly passionate about. Okay, that would be my first thought. All right, they gain a broad experience of the world through various types of work they achieve throughout their career. Okay, so that would be the second thought that comes to mind. How? Okay, so a person switches from being a carpenter to being a nurse to becoming a vet. Okay, becoming a veterinarian, and finally realizing that their passion is for working with animals. All right. Okay, so here now I'm starting to realize something interesting for my answer, and I can come up with my thesis statement. So here I have to ask myself eventually, right? I have to ask myself, what is the answer? So what do I think is the correct answer? So to what? So I have to ask myself this. To what extent do I agree that working in the same job leads to more job satisfaction than switching careers? Okay, so what is my answer? All right, what do I think here? Before I give you my answer, I kind of had this, I thought through it pretty quickly at the beginning and I came up with my answer, but I'm really curious what you come up with. So you think about all of this, right? You think about A, being that carpenter who is working in the same career, becomes that master carpenter, you build 30 beautiful homes or 50 beautiful homes in your lifetime, versus B, the other character who is constantly switching their jobs and eventually becomes this veterinarian who's super passionate about helping animals. So you're thinking, okay, well, what's really better here to be happy in life, A or B? What do you think? What would be your answer here? Kawal says it's easier to figure out their strengths and weaknesses. What do you mean by that, Kawal? So I think you have an interesting idea or an interesting point. What do you mean by that? Okay. Saeed says, I disagree with this statement since continuing to do the same work will not lead to a sense of fulfillment. Cass says, I've experienced switching careers twice. Ugh. Well, Cass, you have some insight there. Okay, let me give you my answer, all right? And again, keep your mind open, okay? It's very important to learn this ability to keep an open mind, okay? Okay, Mal says, silly question. Can't we discuss both views? And then in the last body paragraph, we state our view on the topic. Mal, you have kind of the right idea, and we don't need to state our view in the last paragraph. We could do it in the beginning as well. Amrit says, I partially agree. Yeah, Amrit, you're on the right path. So usually it's not a good idea to partially agree. So usually it is not a good idea to partially agree because it makes for a boring essay. And it is often not the case. However, in some subjective instances, it may make sense to present both sides of the argument. Such as in this case, right? So I think I could make the argument that both working in the same job for a person's entire life could be satisfying, and also switching jobs could be satisfying. Why? So it can be argued that staying in the same career or switching careers can lead to greater job satisfaction. Why? And this is a very important question here. Yeah, and I'm glad that many of you are realizing this. So Ken's also realizing this, that we should give insight into both sides. Why? Why is that? There's a very interesting answer here, and if you get this, you're going to write a very good essay very quickly for this task too. Okay? You should have kind of realized a very important point looking at this topic of satisfying careers. All right, so what do you think it is? So I think the question in itself is somewhat flawed, right? So job satisfaction is independent of whether a person has one or many jobs in their lifetime. It's more dependent on the attitude towards their job. So what I mean here, right, if we really think about this clearly, is a person at the age of 25 might be very lucky, and they might realize that they want to be a veterinarian, and they love what they do, and they stay in the same job, and it's extremely satisfying. Or a person might become a veterinarian at the age of 25 and then realize 5 years later on that they don't like working with animals, and they're not happy and they're not satisfied. So this is where the definition of the topic becomes very important. Does that make sense? So here, if we go with that definition, and this is why I said to you that it's going to be trickier with this second definition of the topic. What is job satisfaction? So a job that a person is motivated to do because they feel a reward is a job that a person might find early in life and pursue throughout their lives, or it might take several different tries at different kinds of work to find. We're not all so lucky to find that right away in life. Okay, does that make sense? So now we have to be able to write the essay based on this idea. Okay, so if I write the introduction, it would sound like this. Okay, so I'm going to write the introduction here, starting with the hook. Okay, the introduction should always have your hook, background, and thesis. Okay. So for my hook, I would write something very, very simple here. Okay. So I would write something like, so job satisfaction leads to great productivity and a happy life. Okay. So here we're talking about job satisfaction, and this is, what we need to do, right? So some people, okay, and then we go into the definitions and the background. The background is the definitions and the importance of this question. And I'm getting this all from the planning. So when you're thinking, oh, well, how is he, writing that so quickly? I'm just simply using what we already planned earlier in the class today. Okay, so job satisfaction leads to great productivity and a happy life. Certain people pursue the same career for over 4 decades, while others switch jobs every 5 years in hopes of having a fulfilling job. Notice how I'm now using the words that I came up with during the paraphrasing of having a fulfilling career. Okay. All right. A satisfying job can be defined as work that a person is motivated to do because they feel a sense of reward in their accomplishment. Okay, so that's my background. Okay, so again, this is my hook, and this is all now just flowing from the planning that we just did. Okay, so that's my hook, and here is my background. All right. Oh, there. Amrit says, many people are doing higher paid jobs, but they have no more interest in their job. I don't like that hook, Amrit, because you're not introducing the topic. So one really important point, Amrit, for your hook is to introduce the topic. And that shows your reader, that shows the examiner that you've identified the topic accurately. So here, I'm literally starting with the topic. Job satisfaction leads to great productivity and a happy life. Certain people pursue the same career for over 4 decades, while others switch jobs every 5 years in hopes of having a fulfilling career, right? So I'm really just tackling and starting with that topic, okay? So you want to start with the topic, all right? And then comes the thesis. Okay, so I do not agree that staying with the same job for an entire lifetime necessarily leads to a more satisfying career than changing jobs, because this can depend on the individual right? And what else? So it can depend on the individual. The individual might find the work that they love right away, and time. Okay. Some people might enjoy the same job year after year, and some people might get bored of that job after a while and look for a change. So some people might be very motivated and very happy to be a veterinarian, but then after 10, 20 years, after helping lots of animals, they might realize, hey, I want to do something else, right? So here, now I've set it up that I can discuss both sides of this in my body paragraphs. And first, I'm going to talk about the individual, how some people find the job they love right away. Some people need to change their jobs a few times. And then about time, that some people love the work they do all their lives, and some people get bored of the work that they do and then want to find a different career. So here, in these body paragraphs now, I will be able to discuss both sides of this within the context of the individual and in the context of time, or change through time. Okay? And again, that's all coming from the planning. Okay? So that's my introductory paragraph. Okay? Now, before I finish, what I want to do is I want to check the question, the original question, and make sure that this introductory paragraph makes sense. So here we go, students. This is the original question here. Let's read it. So some think that people who choose a job early and keep doing it are more likely to have a satisfying career than those who frequently change jobs. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Give explanations and examples to support your opinion. Okay, so here, my response, my introduction is: job satisfaction leads to great productivity and a happy life. Certain people pursue the same career for over 4 decades, while others switch jobs every 5 years in hopes of having a fulfilling career. A satisfying job can be defined as work that a person is motivated to do because they feel a sense of reward in their accomplishments. I do not agree that staying with the same job for an entire lifetime necessarily leads to a more satisfying career than changing jobs, because this can depend on the individual and time. Okay, and if I want to do a little bit of paraphrasing, maybe I'll take out this word career and put in the word profession. Okay. All right, so I see some nice writing by Cass and Rashika there as well. So Cass writes, work plays a central role in daily lives. Some individuals tend to pursue the same profession for 10 years, while others switch careers every 3 years in order to be satisfied with their careers, with their professions. Fulfilling jobs can be accomplished if a person is motivated to do their work. Okay, good, Cass. Good writing. A little bit of correction with word choice, but overall it's a good start. Rashika says everyone prefers to have a satisfying job. Yeah. Not everyone, Rashika, maybe, but I would go with most. Most people prefer to have a satisfying job. Maybe everyone, Rashika. Yeah, all people prefer to have a satisfying job. That's a good hook, Rashika. That works. Okay. Amrit, humans have diverse mentalities that varies from person to person. Some people work under the same organization, while others alter their jobs often. Not bad, Amrit, but you're going to have to be really careful to make sure that you give your reader clear information that's useful. Okay. All right, students, we've got the introduction. Please finish your introductory paragraph on your own time, and then come back tomorrow, members, to finish this essay with me for body paragraph 1 and 2, okay? So homework, complete the body paragraph, and then come back tomorrow, okay, to do body paragraph 1, 2, and the conclusion. We're going to do that tomorrow at the same time, but don't go too far, because in 30 minutes I'm coming back with listening part 1 and 2 from our first practice exam on our websites. And again, those websites are aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. And make sure to use this discount code RU492. It's only for 3 more days, everyone. So go to the websites, use the discount code, and get all of our video lessons, get all of our practice exams. Doesn't cost very much, so it's worth your investment. All right, so that's tomorrow, but again, in 30 minutes, listening coming up. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out for the next half hour, but I'll be back soon. Bye for now.